In the heart of bustling Manila, one act of arrogance by a privileged girl set off a chain of events that would bring her entire world crashing down. This isn't just a story about wealth, pride, or karma. It's a story about transformation, humility, and the power of human kindness, or the lack of it. Stay with us, because what you're about to hear will make you rethink the way you treat every stranger. Bianca Santiago had everything. As the only daughter of Don Emilio Santiago, a powerful real estate tycoon in the Philippines, Bianca lived in a gated mansion in Ayala, Alabang, wore designer brands, studied abroad, and had a personal driver at her beck and call. She scrolled through social media, attended influencer events in BGC, and lived a life far removed from the everyday struggles of the common Filipino. But what she had in material wealth, she lacked in empathy. One rainy Monday, Bianca was late for a business brunch in Makati. Dressed in luxury, sipping her venti caramel macchiato in the back seat of her luxury SUV, she grew impatient at the traffic and flooded streets of Quiapo, where a road construction project was snarling all movement. She tapped her perfectly manicured nails against the car window in frustration. Raindrops raced each other down the glass. Horns blared. The air smelled of wet concrete and smoke. At the side of the road stood an old woman, clutching a plastic bag of vegetables. Her barong-like duster was soaked, her feet caked in brown water, and her back bent from years of hardship. She looked like she had weathered 100 storms. She raised her hand, not to beg, but simply to ask for help crossing the narrow, flooded lane. Bianca sneered. "Ugh, what is she doing out here in the rain anyway?" she said. "Doesn't she have a family to pick her up or something?" Her driver hesitated, waiting for her signal. "Just go. I don't have time for this drama," she ordered, annoyed. The SUV surged forward. A wall of brown, filthy water exploded from the tires, drenching the old woman completely. Her vegetables rolled into the road. She gasped and stumbled back. Gasps erupted from the surrounding crowd. Some tried to help the woman up. Others stared in disbelief. Bianca laughed. "Well, maybe now she'll learn to stay off the road." She returned to her phone and resumed scrolling through photos of herself from the weekend. What she didn't know was that someone had filmed the entire thing from a nearby tricycle. Within hours, the video would be uploaded and go viral. The very next day, headlines exploded. Santiago Holdings under investigation for massive fraud. An internal partner had embezzled billions. Properties were seized. Bank accounts frozen. Don Emilio, once praised on magazine covers, became a figure of scandal overnight. Bianca's credit card stopped working. Their house was surrounded by the media. Friends ghosted them. The mansion? Up for auction. But the headlines were just the beginning. Television crews camped outside their gates. Social media was ablaze with gossip and memes mocking the fall of the mighty Santiagos. Online influencers who once praised Bianca now posted videos shaming her, replaying the dashcam footage of her cruel splash in slow motion, captioned with phrases like, "Karma is real." Don Emilio, once hailed as a business visionary, aged 10 years in a week. He locked himself in his study, emerging only to answer lawyer calls. His empire, built over decades, crumbled within days. Trusted friends refused to answer his calls. Partners denied knowing him. Bianca watched as the house she grew up in was stripped piece by piece. Paintings, antiques, even the grand piano her mother loved. Everything was sold to cover legal fees and debts. Their family was blacklisted by investors. Their reputation? Tarnished beyond repair. Panic set in. They moved from Ayala, Alabang to a small apartment in Paco, where the sound of tricycles replaced the hum of luxury. Bianca, once pampered with massages and high-end skincare, now shared a bathroom with peeling tiles and a faulty faucet. And in just 72 hours, Bianca Santiago went from being the most envied girl in Manila to the most pitied. With nowhere to turn, Bianca moved with her mother into a small rented room in Paco. Gone were the designer bags. Now she stood in line at carinderias, learning the taste of tuyo and lugao. She had never felt hunger like this before. Never noticed how hard it was for her fellow Filipinos to survive day to day. Worse yet, something haunted her every night, the face of the old woman she had splashed. One evening, Bianca broke down in tears. "I want to find her," she said to her mother. "I need to ask her for forgiveness." For weeks, Bianca searched. She walked through the streets of Quiapo, Tondo, and Sta Mesa. She asked street vendors and jeepney drivers, showing a printed photo of the woman, a still from the dash cam. "Her name is Lola Nita," said a Tahoe vendor one morning. She comes to the soup kitchen sometimes, try Paco Church. That led Bianca to Ate Mercy, a kind woman who volunteered at a shelter. Lola Nita doesn't come often, she explained, but she's a kind soul. Give away her own food if someone else is hungrier. Bianca stayed and volunteered at the shelter, cooking, serving, and cleaning. Every day she hoped Lola Nita would walk in. One evening, under the glow of candles in Quiapo Church, Bianca met Mang Lino, a known spiritual elder. "You carry guilt," he said, without her uttering a word. Bianca nodded. "Every action is a seed. Some grow into trees of blessing. Others become thorns. You splashed water not just on an old woman, but on your own fate." He laid his hand on her head. "Until you learn compassion, your spirit will never find peace." The next day, Bianca finally got the call. Lola Nita passed away in her sleep last night. Her knees buckled. It felt like all the air had been sucked out of the room. Bianca clutched her phone tightly, willing the words to be untrue. 1,000 thoughts ran through her head. What if she had searched harder? What if she had found her just a day earlier? She attended the wake in a small chapel in Tondo. The room was quiet except for the soft murmur of prayers and the occasional sob. Children gathered near the altar, lighting candles. The scent of Sampaguita floated in the air. Standing before Lola Nita's coffin, Bianca wept openly. She placed a single white rose beside the old woman's photograph. "I'm sorry," she whispered through tears. "I was cruel, and I can never take it back." She sat in the back pew for hours after everyone else had gone, speaking silently in her heart. And in that sacred silence, something shifted inside her. She knew she could never undo the past, but she could choose what kind of person she would become next. From that day, Bianca never returned to her old life. She and her father, now free from scandal but far less wealthy, opened a small livelihood center for women in need. Bianca started a free meal program in Lola Nita's name. She would tell her story in schools, churches, and barangay halls. "I once laughed at someone's pain. Now I dedicate my life to healing it." Wealth can be lost overnight. Pride can shatter in a moment. But kindness? Kindness lives forever. Never overlook the stranger. Never dismiss the weak. Because the person you ignore today may be the very soul who saves you tomorrow. If this story touched your heart, share it with someone who needs a reminder. We rise by lifting others.